We're here with a different kind of stream today. I understand that my background, it looks like YouTube. It's because it is YouTube. I want to learn how to use this music program called Sibelius. So I found a playlist that just gives you like a tutorial of everything. So I'm just gonna kind of go through that. That'll be the first stream today. I want to stream again later today when we come home from Emily's parents' house. We're going to have dinner with them. But I'll be streaming again later today in like 8-ish hours. Well, a little less than that, like 7 hours. But yeah, I'll be streaming again later tonight. But I want to do this because I've been wanting to learn how to use Sibelius so I can actually make music. We are going to take just a moment though, so I can set up stream. See you in like 2 to 3 minutes.
You made that beat too, Genius?
Nah, I seen him make the beat.
Alright, so we're back to this. So I actually have a pen and paper, so I'm actually going to write some stuff down. You can see this. I can't because obviously it's facing away from my eyes. Or rather, it's facing the same direction my eyes are facing. So I can't read this. You can. This is stuff from, these are notes from, Pokemon. Yeah. That's all this is. Okay. Just some
and
notes.
welcome to Get Started Fast with Avid Sibelius 7.5, presented by Avid Blogs. My name is Philip Rothman, and I'm a
Actually,
composer,
can I do this?
orchestrator, and music preparer in New York. I run NYC Music Services, a
That's
full-service
great.
music preparation firm where we use Sibelius on a daily basis. I've composed and orchestrated for major orchestras, feature films, and television programs, and I've prepared music for leading composers and publishers. You may
Okay.
also know me from the user's blog, SibeliusBlog.com, where I cover tips and news about Sibelius and the field of music notation. In this 5-part tutorial series, we'll go through the basics of Sibelius 7.5, so you can get started fast and make music with it as quickly as possible. These tutorials are designed mostly for those of you that are new to Sibelius, but existing users may
It's
find
called
some helpful tidbits along the way, so please stick around.
Sibelius and not
For this
Sibelius.
lesson, we'll concentrate on the most fundamental elements of music notation, notes and rhythms. We'll
I
also
already
cover
know how to do some of
copy,
that stuff.
select,
Like, I know how to write
and
sheet
delete
music.
notes.
I know how to read it.
When you open Sibelius 7.5,
Right.
you'll notice the Quick Start dialog. We'll cover this more in our next lesson, so for now, I'll just click on Treble Staff, then click Create. This brings up a basic treble clef staff in 4/4 time in C major. In Sibelius, you can enter notes using several methods, and we'll cover all of them here. The simplest method is to use the mouse, but as you'll soon see, it's also usually the slowest way. You'll notice the keypad that appears on the bottom right of your screen.
There's a keypad.
You can drag it around if you like. To start entering notes, simply click on your desired duration. Here I've chosen a quarter note.
Okay, so you
The cursor
chose.
turns blue to show that.
Okay, so you choose the note duration. That's a little funky because you should be able to modify the note that you choose. At least, like, 'cause I'm used to note
Sibelius is
flight in
carrying
terms
the
of
note.
this.
Click in the score where you'd like the note to appear. I'll enter a few more notes in the same way. You may have noticed that you don't need to reselect the duration if it doesn't change from note to note. If you happen to make a mistake, just use the up or down arrow keys to move the pitch. Or hit the escape key to exit out of the note entry mode and drag the note head where you'd like it to go.
Alright, hold up. That was a lot of information. Arrow keys to move pitch. And escape to exit placing notes. Okay.
Hit escape once you're done dragging the note. To add a dotted note, click the main rhythmic value and select a dot. Be sure to select this
Okay.
dot.
So
and
this
not
was all based
the
on that little
staccato dot,
compartment
which is
there at the
actually your
bottom.
articulation, and we'll get to that in just a few moments.
You
To add
can stop
accidentals,
placing notes.
Simply choose one prior to clicking in your score.
Okay, so
You'll notice that Sibelius automatically adds rests to fill out the measure. If you'd like a rest of a different value, just click the duration of the rest, then click the rest key to enter the rest.
oh, okay, so
add more
that's
than one note
just
to a
kind of there
chord,
at the bottom.
Just click where you'd like the notes to go.
Okay.
Let's add a few more notes.
You could really speed
To add
up
a
this
tie to a
tutorial,
note,
dog.
Click the tie key after you've placed your note. Remember, ties are different than slurs. Ties extend the duration of a note, while slurs connect notes of different pitch to make them legato.
Now,
Don't use a tie when you intend a slur, and vice versa. We'll cover slurs in a later lesson.
well, that I'm gonna say ties and slurs are essentially the same thing. It's just slurs
To
go
add
into
articulations
different
like accents to your
pitches.
notes,
Ties just
click
keep
the
the same
articulation
pitch.
before placing your note in the score. You can add
But
more
that
than
might
one
be a
articulation
programming
at a time.
thing.
To stop adding articulations, just click the articulation key again, and continue entering your notes. If you like, you can click on a virtual piano keyboard to play in your notes. On the View tab,
Oh.
click Panels if it already isn't open,
Okay. Virtual keyboard. That actually might be very useful. Go to panels.
Then, click Keyboard.
Click keyboard, and that should display it, I imagine. Now watch this be from like version like fucking 2.0, and then we're on like 14.0, and none of this is the same.
By the way, this collection of buttons at the top of your screen, it's known as the ribbon.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
we'll
I
cover
didn't
that
know
more
that.
in a
I
later
have
lesson.
extensive knowledge of Microsoft Excel and Word
keyboard
because I
appears
use
at
it
the bottom
almost
of your screen,
on a daily basis,
But you
or I
can
used
move
to.
it and resize it. Click the notes on your keyboard to enter notes, instead of clicking in the score.
Okay, that's actually kind of useful. I can definitely see where that would be a lot
As you
more
can see,
useful.
adding notes with the mouse is extremely intuitive, but also very time-consuming. Let's speed up the process by making use of the computer keyboard instead, with a
Okay.
method known as alphabetic input.
That's going to be very important. Alphabetic input. Because, like you said, it's very time consuming, and I know that from having used NoteFlight. Because writing music does actually take kind of a while, especially when you're not programmed with music theory. I never took music theory as a class, so I never really learned it. But you don't have to take music theory to actually understand, like, what sounds good, or, you know, what sounds pleasant to the ears, because you can experiment and then kind of figure it out. And I'll give you a hint. Just don't have notes together that are half a pitch away from each other, meaning a sharp and a sharp and a natural at the same time, or a natural and a flat. Like, because those together in the same instance are, like, they're jarring. They don't sound right together. Now, you can use that purposefully if you're doing, like, you know, something that's, like, horror-esque, or something that's, like, supposed to jar you. But you shouldn't, like, only do that, and you shouldn't do long notes with that, because it sounds really... Ugh. Anyway, alphabetic input.
First, I'll close the keyboard panel,
Kitty.
although there's no harm in leaving it open if you like. If you have a second display, you could also move it to a second display.
Well, I don't do that, so whatever.
To use alphabetic input, we first need to tell Sibelius where to enter the notes. I'll scroll up a little bit, hit escape to exit note input mode, and then I'll click this bar.
Okay.
Then I'll hit the N key, and
Alright. In for notes outside of... Jesus, stop licking me, kitty. It really hurts. You have a sandpaper tongue. Inside of placing notes mode, I guess.
for notes, of course. You'll soon find that this is one of many one-letter keyboard shortcuts in Sibelius.
Okay, so
Notice
it's a
how the
keyboard
keypad
shortcut.
panel corresponds to a numeric keypad on a computer keyboard. Instead of clicking on the keypad, you can hit the corresponding key on your numeric keypad to make...
Oh, okay. Use number pad. For the useful tool. I'm just going to call it the useful tool.
make a selection. For instance, I would hit 5 for a half note, 6 for a whole note, 4 for a quarter note, and so on. Then, instead of clicking in the score, I'll just type the letter name of the note I wish to enter. The process is the same, but you'll see how much faster it is. Notice how the letters A through G on your computer keyboard are all easily reachable with your left hand, leaving you to keep your right hand free to select the rhythms.
Oh, okay. use actual. I wonder if the QWE, because it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They are close together. They're not like in a row or anything on a keyboard. Um, is actual keyboard to select pitch. Okay.
When using alphabetic input, Sibelius will choose the note in the octave nearest to the preceding note. If you need to adjust...
Alright. We'll choose octave. We'll choose octave closest to last note. That's important to know.
the octave, you can move it with the arrow keys like I showed you before. But to do it even more quickly, that is, to move it by an octave, hold down the Command key on Mac or Control on PC, then hit the up or down arrow key in the direction you wish to move. You'll find that in Sibelius, the Command key on Mac or Control on PC means...
Alright. Control plus arrow equals octave shift. Also useful, because then I don't have to click the note 7 times.
Do this, but more, for a wide variety of actions. To add notes to a chord using the alphabetic input method, just type the interval above where you'd like your new note to appear relative to the selected note. For instance, I'd like to add a new note, B, which is a third above this G. So I would type 3, but not on my numeric keypad. I'll type it on the row of keys near the top of the computer keyboard. But notice...
Oh, okay. Using the keyboard numbers. You can add multiple notes. That's also useful, because sometimes you have to hit harmonies and stuff.
Sibelius places a B natural. No problem. I'll simply hit escape, then hit the natural sign on the keypad. In most cases, naturals and accidentals on the keypad, not to mention articulations, are like on-off switches. If it's off, hit it to turn it on, and if it's on, hit it to turn it off.
Okay, well that's
I'll
just
then
intuitive.
add the rest of my chord, use the right arrow key to move to the next bar, and press N to resume note entry. Did you notice that? I used the right arrow key to navigate between notes or rests. You can use the left arrow key to do the same in the other direction. And remember how I said the Command key on Mac or Control on PC means do this but more? Hold down that modifier key and use the left or right arrow keys to move to a whole bar at once. Okay, so I'll press N to resume note entry. This time, I'll enter the top note in the chord first. To add notes below my selected note, this time, I'll hold down the Shift key, then type the interval number.
Okay, so that interval is going to be a little confusing, but I'll probably have to get the hang of that on my own. If I feel like using my mouse
to click in a note, I can do so. You don't have to switch between tools while you're using one method or another. You can click one note in, and type in the next one, if you choose. Let's type in a few more notes. By default, all notes are entered into what is known in Sibelius as voice 1. These notes will be colored blue when they are selected. If I wish to add another voice, I'd first hit escape, if I need to exit out of the note input mode.
Okay.
Then, I would select where I'd want the notes to go, then type N for notes. Now, I can either click the voice number on the keypad, or using the shortcut Option on the Mac or Alt on PC, plus the voice number, I would tell Sibelius in which voice I'd like to place the notes. To place notes in voice 2, I type Option 2, and then enter notes in the usual way.
That's weird.
Sibelius supports up to 4 simultaneous voices.
Oh,
If you have a
okay.
MIDI
That's what it
keyboard,
means
you can
by
use a couple more
voices.
note entry methods to speed things up even more. First, I'll show you my favorite, step time entry. The rhythmic part of step time entry works the same as alphabetic input.
Okay.
First I'll select my bar, type N for notes, and hit 4 for a quarter note if it isn't already selected. But instead of typing the note names on my computer keyboard, I'll play them on my MIDI keyboard. The nice part about this is that you can play in chords all at once. Sibelius will make its best guess regarding enharmonic notes, but if you need to respell a note enharmonically, just hit the return key after playing in the note.
The fuck is a return key? What is the return key?
You can see how, with a little bit of practice, step
What?
time can often be the most efficient way to enter in notes. Finally, if you're a good keyboard player, or even just okay like me, you can record your music in real time by
Okay.
using what's known as flexitime input.
Well, I can play a trumpet and a
Let's select
tuba.
where we'd like to record the music. Then we'll go to the Play tab. You'll see some controls, one of which is a red button, which of course is the record button.
Okay.
Get ready because we're about to start recording in real time. Sibelius will helpfully give me a 1-bar count off. When I'm
Okay.
finished, to stop recording, I'll just hit the space bar.
So does
Or I
that
can also
use
click this big blue stop
the
button.
microphone, or is it like a recorded setup? Okay, so you probably have to have an actual instrument hooked into the computer for this
I
to
did
be
pretty
able to
well,
work.
but if I need to correct any errors, it's easy enough to do. These 2 bars look okay. This 3rd bar, I
Yeah,
rushed the
I
eighth
heard
notes a
some
little bit.
misplayed notes
No
at some
problem.
point.
I'll just select this note and make it an 8th note. Sibelius helpfully gets rid of the extra 16th note and the tie. I'll right arrow over to the next note, remove the rhythm dot, remember that's also like an on-off switch, and keep moving along. I'll change the 16th note to an 8th note. This looks okay. I'll change this enharmonic note by pressing return.
Okay.
I'll renotate this, even though it's rhythmically correct, I'll renotate it to an 8th note, followed by a tie, right arrow, and then type E on my computer keyboard.
I wonder how ties and slurs work on the
Everything else looks
piano,
good,
because,
with the exception
like,
of
I
this
get
very last
it.
note. I'll hit escape,
Well,
stop
actually, no,
carrying
they
the note,
work roughly the
select
same
the whole
way.
note, and make it a half note. Of course, Sibelius fills in the rest of the measure.
Who's
To
your
round off
baby
this lesson,
kitty?
let's look at how to select, copy, move, and delete notes. We
I
already
wish I
know
could
how to
actually
select
see
one note
this.
at a
She
time
just
by clicking and moving around with the left or right arrow
curled
keys.
that up.
To delete a note, just select it and hit delete.
Alright.
Sibelius will replace the note with a rest. You
So
can make what's
delete-
known as a passage selection
No.
by selecting a note or rest, holding down Shift, and hitting the right or left arrow keys to extend the passage. You can also hold down Shift and click to extend the passage as well. Let's hit Escape to remove our selection. If you haven't noticed already, you can think of the Escape key as your get out of jail free key. If you have a selection,
I
or
get
if you're
it.
entering notes, or doing many other things in Sibelius, hitting Escape once or twice will usually return you to the default state.
Okay.
If you click within any part of a bar, except for the notes, you'll find that you can select the entire bar at once. Double-clicking will select all the bars on that system. Triple-click, and you'll select all the music in the entire piece for that instrument.
Okay.
If you click outside the staff in an empty space in your score, you'll remove the selection.
Okay, cool.
This, of course, is the same as hitting Escape. Now that you know how to make a selection, you can work with it. If you'd like to move all these notes up or down at once, you can by using the up or down arrow keys.
Okay,
You
that
can,
makes
of course,
sense.
delete the notes by hitting delete. You can add intervals the same way we did for single notes by using the numbers on your keyboard to add an interval up, or hold down Shift to add an interval down. You can copy music by holding down Option on Mac or Alt on PC and clicking the destination where you'd like the music to appear. If you Option or Alt-click into a bar that already has music in it, Sibelius will replace the existing music. If you'd like to make an immediate repeat of a selection, hit the R key for repeat, of course. This wraps up our first lesson. In Lesson 2, we'll cover setting up your score and adding instruments, getting around the Sibelius interface in more detail, and navigating around your score, including our very first look at Sibelius 7.5's new timeline feature. To learn how to create music without bounds, and...
Yeah, shut up, I need to do this. This is the second one.
Hi everyone.
Oh, I guess I could have just done
Get started
that.
fast with Avid Sibelius 7.5, presented by Avid Blogs. My name is Philip Rothman, and in this 5-part tutorial series designed mostly for new users.
See, that was really good because that allows me to like actually figure out how to use the dang program, which is what I needed.
We'll cover how to set up and add instruments to a new score. I'll show you how to navigate around your score.
The first 3 things is pretty much everything you need to know.
We'll also go over how to use the ribbon. Just like last lesson, we'll begin in the
Because a lot of these other ones are like
many pre-existing templates for you
not that long. Actually, I lied. Some of these are much longer than I thought.
In many styles. Scroll up or down to browse through the categories, and click a heading to show or hide it. To search for
The first 7 of these are the more important
ones.
ones.
Box. Click on a manuscript paper to choose it. You're not limited to the instrumentation that Sibelius chooses. Click Change Instruments to add or remove instruments to your score. You can choose from all instruments or from various collections. Click a drop-down triangle to reveal instruments in that particular family for the collection you're in. Or, if you prefer, you can search for an instrument by typing the first few letters of the instrument name.
Okay.
To add the selected instrument to your score, click Add to Score. To
That's
delete
useful.
any undesired instruments, just click on the instrument under Staves in Score and click Delete from Score. You can delete several instruments at once by shift-clicking.
So this is like
to select
a
continuous selection, or command
this is
clicking
like a
on Mac,
wizard.
Control-click on PC to select non-contiguous instruments. Sibelius will place instruments in a customary order, but you can reorder them however you like by clicking on the instrument
Yeah,
name
that makes sense.
and
Like,
clicking
whatever.
up or down under Move.
I'll probably only need 8 or 9 instruments per...
Let's finish
or
adding
something
the
like
instruments,
that, just depending
and
on what I'm writing.
click OK to continue.
Really, I might only need like 5 or 6, just
A house
depending,
style
plus
is a collection
percussion.
of fonts, engraving rules, and other settings to give your music a custom appearance. Sibelius offers many ready-made house styles for different types of music. The
Oh,
first term will generally refer to the type of music. The second term is the music font, and the last term, if it exists, is the text font. Let's choose Jazz Ink Pen, and let's see how our score preview has changed. You can also choose your page size and orientation here.
okay, well I don't care about that.
Next, we'll choose a time signature, and you'll notice options for less common meters.
Those 2 meters, oh my god, nobody uses that. Who is using 2
You'll also see an option for a pickup bar. You can add values to this, or delete what's in the box to start fresh. Leave the box unchecked for no pickup. You can choose some tempo text, or type your own, and select the metronome mark.
Okay, that's useful.
Key signatures are divided into several categories.
Yeah, key signatures are something that I'm probably going to have to learn at some point because I'm not too familiar with them.
Let's type in some basic details for your score, like title.
Despite
composer, and
my
copyright.
like 8 years of music playing knowledge that I have, I'm not familiar with key signatures. Like, I understand what they are and what they do, but in terms of writing music, I don't.
To add a number to an instrument
I'm
name,
not
just
familiar.
double-click it and type the number. You'll need to do this for the full instrument name. at the
Like,
beginning
if
of
someone
your
were to
score,
say,
and the
like,
short
play
instrument
this in the
name.
key of A minor, and I'd be
Name will
like,
repeated on every
the
system,
fuck does that
so you won't
mean?
need to do this
Like,
more than once.
if I can read the
We'll work on this
music,
more in our
cool,
next lesson.
fine, we have no
If
qualms,
you forgot
but...
an instrument during your initial score setup, just type I for instruments to call up the same dialogue we worked with moments ago.
Oh, okay.
Sibelius will even offer to adjust the staff size to make the new instrument fit on the page.
Okay, that's pretty
You
good.
can navigate around your score in many ways. Notice the status bar at the bottom of the screen. It includes a slider to help you zoom in and out of your score.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that makes sense. I think Fruity
You can
Loops also
click
has that
plus
option.
or minus buttons. Various other options are available in the ribbon.
Oh my
which we'll
god,
cover in a
talk
few minutes.
faster.
You can also use the keyboard shortcuts Command =sign to zoom in and Command -sign to zoom out. If you hold down the Command key, or Control on PC, and you use the mouse wheel, you can zoom that way. Of course, scrolling without the Command or Control key pressed will simply scroll the score up or down. Try holding Shift and scrolling with the mouse to scroll the score left or right. One of the
I'll
nice zooming
probably
tricks,
just
if
click
something
the
is selected
bar
in
and
your score,
scroll.
Sibelius will target its zooming to keep the selection in view, as opposed to just zooming into the center of the screen. The most obvious way to navigate is to simply click and hold with your mouse, anywhere in
Yeah,
your score
that's
where there
probably
isn't
what I'm
music
gonna
or
do.
another object. As soon as you move the mouse, the cursor will turn into a hand, and you can drag the score around in the same way that you would move a piece of paper on your desk. Release the mouse to continue working normally. Here are some keyboard shortcuts for navigation. Page up or page down, move the score up or down by a screenful. Home and end, move the score a screenful left or right. If you hold down Command or Control and hit Home or End, you'll instantly navigate to the beginning or end of your score. If you prefer working in a continuous scroll view of your score, instead of viewing it by the page, simply type Shift-P for panorama. You can also click this icon in the status bar.
I don't know if
Type
I would
Shift-P
like
again,
viewing that.
or click the icon to return to a page layout view of your score. I'll click on View and open the navigator, which is another great way to get around your score. It's kind of like having a bird's eye view of your entire score.
That's fine. I kind of know what I'll be doing with this.
Finally, new in Sibelius 7.5 is the timeline,
Okay,
which
timeline.
displays landmarks in your score, like rehearsal marks, key and time signatures, tempo markings, and more. Bars which contain music are dark, and bars without music are lighter. The viewable portion of your score is displayed in an orange box, and if you make a selection, it's highlighted in the timeline. You can quickly jump to any landmark or bar in your score by clicking on it in the timeline. You'll notice that the item or bar will flash in the score, in a color
Oh, well,
corresponding
that's
to its name in
okay.
the
It's
timeline.
just another way to get around faster, I guess.
The timeline's height can be adjusted, and its horizontal zoom levels can be controlled with the buttons on the bottom left-hand corner of the timeline. Like many of Sibelius's panels, the timeline can be undocked, resized, and moved around.
Okay.
Just drag it to
I
the very top
probably
or
won't be
bottom of the
using
window
that all
if you
too
wish to redock it.
often.
Let's now explore the ribbon, which is this wide band of command buttons at the top of your screen. Here you'll find all of Sibelius's features according to task. The first of these tabs, the File tab, is colored purple, to signify that it's special. Clicking on it will hide your score and take you to an area known as the backstage. This is where you'll be able to save your score, edit its information, print, export, and share your score with others. We'll cover this area more in Lesson 5. The remaining tabs are organized into groups, and you can think of them being ordered roughly in the sequence in which you might perform tasks in your score.
Well,
The
I
Home
need
tab
to have a
contains some of the most
way.
elemental operations like cut, copy, paste, adding and deleting instruments and bars, basically setting up your score. After you set up your score, you'll want to input notes like we did in Lesson 1. Once you do that, you'll edit it by heading to the Notations tab and add clefs, key and time signatures, bar lines, and symbols. You'll further work on your score by adding text, and here you'll be able to create and edit the many different types of text in your score. We'll go over some of the items in the Notations and Text tabs in our next lesson. At this point, you might wish to play your score. You'll also be able to adjust your score's performance settings and add video here. We'll switch to the appropriate tab and highlight the feature that you've chosen. To only show the ribbon when you need it, and hide it when you don't, click this green triangle.
I already know how to do that.
Hovering over each of the features will show screen tips, which is a great way to learn more about the feature's purpose. We've already learned a few keyboard shortcuts, and if you hover over a feature to which a shortcut is assigned, you'll see that shortcut, like N for notes. You can also access anything in the ribbon using key tips. To activate a key tip, hit and release Control on Mac or Alt on PC. So if I hit this key, I get the first level of key tips. Say I wish to navigate to the Notations tab. I'll type N, and I'll get a second level of key tips. If I wish to add a bar line, I'll type BL in this case. I can use the arrow keys to navigate within the gallery. If I want to place a double bar line in my score, I'd hit Return. The mouse turns blue to show that Sibelius is carrying the bar line, and then I'll click in the score to place it. Let's do this again. Control, N, BL, but say I change my mind. Remember in our last lesson how I said that escape was our get out of jail free key? Hit escape to move back up a level in the key tips. Hit it again to move up to the first level, and hit it once more to dismiss them entirely. I could even hit escape one more time to deselect the double bar line that I placed. When hovering on some of these items, you may notice a split button. In this case, clicking on the top part of the button will produce a triplet. Clicking on the bottom part of the button will give me some different tuplets. Here, if I click Other, I'll be taken to a dialog to select even more options. Incidentally, in Lesson 1 I didn't show you how to input a tuplet, so let's do that here. You can choose your tuplet, either with nothing selected, in which case Sibelius will carry the tuplet. You can place it in your score. I'll just Command Z to undo that. Another way to choose a tuplet is to actually choose the note first, and then select triplets, or any other type of tuplet from the ribbon. I'll undo that one more time. Yet another way to place a tuplet is to place the tuplet in note input mode. after telling Sibelius the value of the first note of the doublet. You'll want to learn the shortcut Command 3 or Control 3 on PC for triplets, and you might guess that Command or Control and other numbers correspond to the other tuplet values that are possible. Okay, back to the ribbon. You can click the up or down buttons to cycle through items in a gallery for a particular notation feature, or click the drop-down button for access to the complete gallery. From there, you can choose your item to place in the score.
Okay.
Let's stay right here for a moment. You'll notice this downwards right-pointing arrow for some of the features in the ribbon. This is a dialog launcher, and it opens up a dialog with more options for you, related to where in the ribbon you are. We won't be covering this in our Get Started Fast series, but
A lot of that stuff I do not know.
Depending on the width of the window, Sibelius will try to activate as many of the buttons as possible. If space gets very tight,
But I probably won't really need to use most of that stuff, because most of what I'm going to be doing is fairly simple.
This wraps up our second lesson. In lesson 3, we'll get into the many musical elements.
Yeah, I don't need. Please go here.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Get Started Fast with Avid.
Yeah, please go here.
Key signatures. I'll show you 3 different ways to place key signatures in your score. The first way is to make sure that nothing is selected. Be certain of this by either
Bro got a
clicking
different
anywhere,
microphone for this one.
another object, or press escape. Then, with the Notations tab selected in the ribbon, click the key signature button. As you might expect, its shortcut is the letter K, and you can just as easily hit that key. Now, select your desired key signature.
Yeah, I don't know the difference between C major and A minor. I don't get that. That makes no sense to me.
You'll notice that Sibelius automatically adds a double bar line and also adds a cautionary key signature.
Something I've never really learned.
This time I'll pre-select where I want it to go. I'll type K and use the arrow keys this time to select my key signature. As soon as I hit return, the key signature will be placed in the score. And as you can see, this key change is in effect until the next one appears. Finally, I'll make a passage selection to show Sibelius the exact start and end of my key signature change. Sibelius will restore the existing key signature at the end of my selection, like so. Any of these key signature changes can be selected and deleted by simply hitting delete.
Oh,
While we're
okay.
here, let's deal with these double bar lines. I can select them too and delete them in the same way. Sibelius restores a default bar line in their places. You may notice that Sibelius automatically places a final bar line on the last measure of your score, but you can place any type of bar line anywhere you like, in the same way we just placed a key signature. Bar line doesn't have its own keyboard shortcut by default, but remember in our last lesson, I accessed it with key tips by using the Control key on Mac or Alt on PC and typing N, then EL.
Time signatures, I get
I'll
that.
place another one here by using the map. Slurs work very similarly to hairpins. Select your starting note, type the letter S, and press the spacebar to advance. Sibelius will magnetically snap the slur, well, if you have nothing better to do, I suppose. Clef changes, of course, can be selected and deleted. Hairpins, otherwise known as crescendos and diminuendos, can be placed by selecting the note at the position where you'd like the hairpin to start. Then, type the letter H for
Why
crescendo,
is this called time signatures when we're talking about crescendos and decrescendos?
or by selecting more options at the bottom of the gallery after you select T for time signature, and unchecking rewrite bars up to next time signature. Clefs are placed on a staff-by-staff basis, but otherwise they behave similarly to key and time signatures. Its shortcut is the letter Q, because the letter C is already reserved for the note name C. You can place an open-ended clef change, like this, or you can circumscribe it to a passage selection. At the end
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing any of that because I already know.
dragging around the clef for many hours of fun and entertainment. Well, if you have nothing better to do, I suppose. Clef changes, of course, can be selected and deleted.
But clef changes happen so
Hairpins,
rarely.
crescendos and diminuendos, can be placed by selecting the note at the position where you'd like the hairpin to start. Then, type the letter H for crescendo, and press the spacebar to advance the hairpin to each successive note.
Alright.
Select the note, hold down Shift and type H, and similarly advance with the spacebar. If you found you've gone too
H
far,
equals
hold down
crescendo.
Shift and hit the spacebar to retract the hairpin. You can use the arrow keys for finer adjustments left or right, or even up and down.
Shift H equals
In the implemented Sibelius,
decrescendo.
Command on Mac or Control on PC means do this but more, and you can hold down Command and use the arrow keys to move the hairpin in larger increments. If you click either end of a hairpin, a small handle will appear, which will allow you to make these adjustments. You can, of course, use the mouse as well. If you know in advance
Okay,
how
you
long
could
you'd
use the
like
mouse to
hairpin be,
adjust it. That's
make the passage
fine.
selection, and type H or Shift H to place your crescendo or diminuendo for the duration of the passage.
I
Slurs
like
work
that he
very
calls it a
similarly to hairpins.
diminuendo.
Select your starting note, type the letter S, and press the spacebar to advance. Sibelius will magnetically snap the slur to the notes in the proper position, and
S
correctly flip the
equals
slur if it encompasses both downstem and
slur.
upstem notes. Again, shift space to retract the slur. You can place slurs on a passage selection, just like hairpins. Hairpins and slurs are just two of many different lines in Sibelius, which can be accessed easily in the ribbon or by typing the letter L.
Space
You'll find that trills, octave
extends
lines,
it.
and many other lines can be placed in a similar way. Next to the lines gallery,
I think it said
is the symbols
shift.
gallery, accessed via shortcut by the letter Z for symbols. Remember that we've already used the letter S for slur.
Oh, Z for
There's a
symbols.
whole array of symbols that can be placed in your score. Again, you can either click a symbol and place it in your score with nothing selected, or tell Sibelius exactly where you'd like it to go by selecting the place in your score in advance of choosing the symbol. Now let's move on to text, and we'll start with dynamics. In Sibelius, dynamics like pianissimo and forte are really just special types of text known as expressions. To create a dynamic, select where you'd like it to go, and type Command E on Mac or Control E on PC. You can also find the expression key.
Alright. Control E equals expressions / dynamics, which is incredibly important in music. Dynamics are incredibly important.
Category in the ribbon in the Styles section. You'll notice a flashing cursor. At this point, you can right-click anywhere on the screen to bring up a contextual menu of the most commonly used dynamics and expressions. If you don't have a right button on your mouse on the Mac, hold down the Control key, not the Command key, and click. Select your expression to place it in the score. Hit Escape to dismiss the flashing cursor. You can also easily type in your dynamics.
Right-click.
Again, Command E or Control E to place your expression, but this time, keep holding down the Command or Control key. Then, type your dynamic. By holding down the Command or Control key and typing a letter, you are telling Sibelius to write a dynamic in a special music text font instead of an ordinary text font.
I do not know what the R and the S are.
One exception.
I know it mezzo forte, mezzo piano, pianissimo,
Get the special Z to appear.
pianissimo, fortissimo, etc.,
Control
forte.
Shift Alt Z on
I know all that. The other ones, with the R and S and stuff, I don't know what that is.
You can even create hybrid
Yeah, I guess I didn't learn enough of Mozart and Beethoven when I was in school to really know what those are. That don't get ever, they are never been used in the last 200 years.
to edit it much as you would in a word processor. You can also select the text and hit return to edit your text.
Okay. This seems,
Text like pizzicato, arco, and mute.
this seems more like,
Except that by default, they
instead of
don't
a
have
creating
they
music,
have their own predefined
like, file, like,
shortcut is Command T on Mac,
we'll see.
Control T on PC.
It seems more like you're writing music more than you're creating,
And option clicking
like,
on Mac will
music
alter
that
the
you
letter
could
C
use in
to
another
go.
program.
To get the object to snap to its default vertical position when you do this, add the Shift key to these shortcuts. Tempo marks are similar to technique text, except that they will always appear on the top staff of the bar, because they apply to all the instruments at once. The shortcut for tempo text is Option Command T on Mac or Control Alt T on PC. You can combine ordinary text and note values. Right-click to bring up the available
Well,
options,
that's just,
like to place a metronome.
yeah, that's important, but that's more important for, like, if you're live playing that music.
Tempo text will always appear at the top. Once you print the individual parts, you'll see a
Because,
tempo
like, you can play something slowly, like, in this one,
in a later lesson.
it's,
Created by selecting where you'd like to place
if I remember what that means, it means, like,
and typing
slow, because obviously the tempo is slow at 69,
You can also click the lyrics button in the ribbon.
just for reference, for those who don't know music, most songs are written somewhere between 90-ish tempo and 120, somewhere in that range. Like, that's where most music is just written in general. So, yeah, when you see 69, it's a very slow tempo. But the words that he used there is, like, it's really kind of brought together and flowing, and elongated notes.
Copy your text. Type Command L to initiate the lyrics.
Oh, okay, you can add lyrics into this. That's interesting. I write my own lyrics and know how they work. I am a rapper.
Scratch the surface here. The shortcut is Command. Rehearsal marks are
Blah, blah.
to add your title and composer text when you first set up your score. You can do it at any time by clicking on the very first bar.
Okay, I don't need to know any of that.
Title from the Styles gallery and type
Instrument changes. Yeah, we'll just skip ahead to
And
this.
welcome to Get Started Fast with Avid Sibelius 7.5, presented by Avid Blogs. My name is Philip Rothman.
I'm
In this
so
5-part
glad that I can
tutorial
play
series
this at a
designed
higher
for new
speed than
users,
normal.
We'll go through the basics of
My
Sibelius
ADHD
7.5,
would kill
so you
me.
can get started fast and make
It would
as
actually
quickly
become
as
a
possible.
terminal illness.
For this lesson, we'll cover some layout tips and techniques. We'll go over instrument changes, how to transpose music, and how to work with transposing scores. We'll also demonstrate Sibelius's playback features, including video. Here I have
I've
our
got a
checklist
lot of
score
notes
from our
taken
last
so
lesson.
far,
It
at
has all its
least.
markings in, but the layout needs some work. Let's go to the Layout tab in the ribbon. Here you'll notice many powerful options for customizing your score's layout. I can reduce the staff size
Okay.
and instantly see how it affects my score. I can also adjust the distance between staves or systems for the entire document. There, that's looking better already. If you want to
That
force a
looks
system
like
break,
crap to
just
me,
select
dog.
the line where you wish to break to
Oh no,
occur,
what's he's talking
and
about?
select System Break from the ribbon.
Okay.
The keyboard shortcut for this is Return, which is easy to remember because it's similar to a carriage return that forces a line break in a word processor or on a typewriter if you happen to remember what those are. If I wish to
Please
alter
tell me
selection
what
bars
the
together on the same
return
system,
key
I'll
is.
select them and choose Keep Bars Together.
There's an enter
This
key.
one
Do you
feature
mean
is to
the
make
big
indexes,
enter key?
which not only keeps those bars together, but keeps other bars
Do you
out of
mean
the system
home?
and adds a system break. As we perform these tasks, you'll start noticing these blue layout marks. If you don't
Alright.
see them, go to View, Invisibles, and be sure that layout mark is checked. The layout marks aren't just for display. They can
I'm
be selected
sleepy.
and deleted, which may have consequences for your layout. Once you're happy with your layout,
Not
you'll
because
need
of
to lock
this.
it
I'm
to
just
prevent Sibelius
I'm just
from
tired
making
in
further
general
unintended
right
changes to
now.
it. To do that, select the music you wish to lock, go to the Layout tab if it already isn't selected, and choose Lock Format. Even if you add music or change the staff size of your score, Sibelius will stubbornly grant your wish and keep the layout locked.
I don't like that. I
course,
probably
if you
won't
change your
ever be
mind,
using
you can
that.
always unlock the format for any selection of music. You may notice places in your score where objects are not positioned correctly, and any collisions are marked red. This is because of Sibelius's magnetic layout feature.
That's
Attempting to correct several
fine.
things, but is limited by the current layout settings in the document. You can even have Sibelius automatically do this for you by selecting the systems you wish to adjust adjustments to the rest of the staves on that system as you drag. Just by dragging these staves, you can easily get all these markings to pop into place. You can even have Sibelius automatically do this for you by selecting the systems you wish to adjust and choosing Optimize from the Staff Spacing section of the Layout tab. In Lesson 2, we reviewed how to add instruments to your score. You can also change an instrument in your score to another instrument for a part or for all of the piece. Let's say
Oh,
we wish
okay.
to arrange the string orchestra piece for wind quintet. First, I'll triple-click the violin 1 staff to tell Sibelius what instrument I would like to change. Triple-clicking selects the instrument for the entire piece.
That's not
Then,
that
I'll go to the Home
important
tab
because I
and
kind of
choose
know
Change
all of what I
from the
want to
Instruments dialog.
use.
I get a very similar dialog to the Add or Remove Instruments dialog. I can either select my category and family of instruments and browse, or I can type the first few letters of the instrument name to search for it. Let's do the same staff by
I
staff
hope
for the rest of the piece.
I can add more instrumentation, like, to the program
You'll notice many notes colored either deep
to
red
get
to
different
signify the
sounds
extreme range
that I
of the
want to go
instrument,
for, because
or bright
otherwise I'm
to
going to have to
signify the
learn how to
flavor.
use Fruity Loops
I could try to correct this by
to
transposing
do
certain
what I'm
passages.
trying to do.
To transpose a passage up or down an octave, just select it and type Command on Mac or Control on PC and the up or down arrow keys. For other intervallic transpositions, we'll want to go to Note Input, Transpose, or use the shortcut Shift-T. You can choose the
Okay.
type of interval and how large it is. If your transposition goes far afield, you can optionally have Sibelius respell double sharps or flats. To do this, uncheck this
Weird.
box. However,
Whew.
don't use the transpose feature to, say, transpose a transposing instrument like clarinet and B flat up a whole step. Sibelius will automatically take care of that for you, as we'll see in just a moment.
Yeah, I'm not
If you wish to
really...
transpose the music and change the key signature of your piece at the same time, you'll need to make your selection into a system passage. To do this, simply click System Passage in the Select group of the Home tab. I'll select the rest of the piece, and then type Shift-T for transpose. Certain other options are now available to us. Let's choose Transpose by Key. We'll go up to B flat, and then we'll tell Sibelius to transpose key signatures and change the key at the start of the selection.
Okay, yeah, that's too
Individually
complicated.
select each of these pizzicato and arco markings and delete them, but since they're all technique text, I can select them all at once. To do this, I'll use Sibelius's filters. We won't be getting into the filters too much in this tutorial series, but they're very powerful and convenient. For now, I'll just select the whole score by typing Command A on Mac or Control A on PC, and going to Filters, Technique Text. Now, I can delete all these markings at once. Likewise, I could individually remove the bottom note of all these double stops, but let's make use of the filter again. I'll select the whole score, and then I'll go to
Interesting.
Filters, Notes for Deletion, Bottom Note. Sibelius selects only those places where two notes exist, and then only selects the bottom note. From there, I can easily delete these notes all at once. One other thing, the horn doesn't read tenor clef, so let's get rid of it by selecting it and deleting it. We might as well bring down this section an octave in the horn and the bassoon. just type Command down arrow on Mac or Control down arrow on PC. One of the bassoon notes is out of range. I'll just select it and bring it back up an octave.
Okay, so this is just kind of reiterating what he's already done. This sounds like one of those RPGs that I would play on your phone.
Simply click a note and hit P to play from the selection. You'll notice that if you make a passage selection, Sibelius will solo those instruments during playback. You can even make a non-contiguous selection by command clicking or control clicking on PC the staves. To bring up a console-style mixer, type M for mixer. You'll get a basic view.
Oh, that's useful.
Several times by clicking on this button. Here, you can solo and mute staves, change levels, change panning, and effects.
Yeah, that's something that I don't know that much
There's
about.
also a click track, which can be enabled. Close the mixer by typing M again, or simply click the close button.
So that just allows you to hear
Also, a
like
transport panel, which duplicates many of the
specific
options
parts so you
also
can get it
provides
right
features.
for
Take
program
your time to
levels
read out.
for
Show
exporting
transport.
it
Go
to
View,
a file.
Panels, Transport.
Alright, so I'm more interested in this part now.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Get Started Fast with Avid Sibelius 7.5, presented by Avid Blogs. My name is Philip Rothman. and in this 5-part tutorial series
Surface
designed mostly
Pro,
for new
notable
users,
me,
we'll
that's
go through the
not
basics
what
of
I
Sibelius
need.
7.5.
Oh, so
We'll
this
get
is pretty
started
much
fast
the
and make
last
music
video
as
then
quickly
that
as
I need to
possible.
watch.
For this lesson, we'll work with Sibelius's dynamic parts feature, so that you can create individual parts that are intelligently linked to your score. We'll go over Sibelius's printing and exporting options, and we'll explore the many ways to share your music with a wider audience. Generally, you won't want to start working on your parts until after you've finished working on your score. We all know, though, that changes are made to the music at all points in the process. This is why dynamic parts are so useful, because you can change your score or part, and, depending on the nature of your change, it will be instantly updated in both the score and the part. Let's go to the Parts tab. Sibelius generally creates all the parts you need for your score by default, but if for some reason it hasn't, you can click the New Part button, and Sibelius will offer to create them for you.
Okay.
You'll see a list of all the parts in your document by clicking this plus menu on the right-hand side of the document tab bar. Click on any part to open it. Notice how the default paper texture for a part is different from that of the full score, allowing you to easily distinguish between the two. As we start opening parts, you'll notice that Sibelius creates a tab for each one of them. Click on a tab to view a part, and drag the tabs in any order you like. Use the shortcut Control Tab on both Mac or PC to cycle through any open tab.
Okay, so that's just how I can do.
You
That's
can even peel off
going to
the
be
tab into
useful.
a new window by simply dragging it away from the main window. You'll want to remember the shortcut W for quickly switching between the full score and a part.
Okay, W switches between one part and full
Instantly
score.
switch to that particular part at the place selected, and it will create a new tab for it if it isn't already open. Simply click the close button to close a part. If our score is not a transposing score, Sibelius will still display the part transposed, as it is meant to be read by the performer. Notice, for example, how the clarinet part is transposed to be a major second higher than written. You can switch off transposing score for your part, but that would be very unusual. Let's go back to the score.
I probably
and I'll
won't
turn
need to
transposing
do
score
any
back on.
much transposing because
When you move an object
most
to the
of
part,
what I'm going to be
Sibelius will
doing
color
is
the
just
orange, to show you
writing
that its
out
position has changed from the other
repetitive measures.
You can fine-tune slurs, the positioning of dynamics.
Because I'm not trying to
and
write full on like
Generally
orchestras
speaking,
or
you can move
symphonies
objects
or
around in
anything
the
like that.
without
I'm
worrying
literally
about
going to be
the
doing
score.
video game remixes that I like and or beats that I can use for my
Notice,
rap.
though, if I add
That's what I'm going to be doing.
These changes will be reflected in the score. This is also true if I add or delete bars, of course.
And I might make a little bit of lo-fi music, like my own style lo-fi. But that's what I'm going to be using it for.
In certain types of music, it's helpful to have a regular amount of music on each system. To enable this, go to Layout and click Auto Breaks.
Oh my
There's other
god.
options here, but for now, let's switch on Use Auto System Breaks every 4 bars. We can use the same layout techniques we learned in our last lesson. I'd like to add a page break here. The shortcut for that is Command Return on Mac or Control Return on PC, or I can select it from the ribbon. Then I'll add a couple system breaks by clicking a bar line and pressing Return. I'll make a few more minor
I do
adjustments.
not
and the
understand
part
what
is
this
looking good.
fucking return key is,
If you
dog.
find that you wish to apply the same settings across any open parts or across all the parts in your piece,
Okay.
go to the Parts tab and click Part Appearance. For instance, you could decide to apply your auto break settings to many parts at once. Another way to quickly format parts, if the music is similar in another part, is to copy the entire part layout from one part to another. Let's try this. Here's my Clarinet 2 part, which contains very similar music to Clarinet 1. Just click Copy Part Layout and choose your source part and destination parts, and click OK. Yes, I'm sure I want to do this. And in a flash, the layout of the page and system objects of my Clarinet 2 part is updated, along with any other parts to which I've chosen to copy the layout.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's say your baritone sax player is ill, but you have a bassoonist waiting around with nothing to do. However, the bassoonist reads bass clef at concert pitch, not treble clef.
Oh, yeah.
Plus an octave higher than concert pitch.
The age-old problem of you have one guy that's sick and the other guy's doing nothing, and you need the guy doing nothing to come in during a performance. Yeah, the age-old problem of that
In this
happening.
case, we'll choose bassoon, and we'll instantly have a new bassoon part that is dynamically linked to the baritone sax part.
It's a very common thing for someone to just start puking into their instrument. I've seen it happen thousands of times.
And in no time, your bassoonist is ready to go. Once your score and parts are done, you'll want to print and share them. To print, you can click the Print All Parts button
Yeah, I'm
on the Parts
not
tab,
interested in
or go to the
printing.
File tab, and click Print. The common shortcut Command P on Mac, or Control P on PC works as well. You can choose the full score, parts, or both. And if you need to print more than one copy of a part, just double-click the number of
Please tell me
copies
that I
and
won't
adjust
have
as
to
you need.
be using Fruity
Select only certain
Loops. I
parts
don't want to
if
do all the
necessary.
tutorials
You get a nice
that
large preview
involve Fruity
exactly what
Loops.
your
There's
percent will
going to be
look
so
and
many
you
of
can navigate
them.
to any page in the preview. There are many detailed options here, depending on your printer's abilities and your needs. You can make PDFs of your music just as easily by clicking Export and choosing PDF. Many different self-explanatory options are available. For example, you can export the score and all parts in one combined file, or you can just export the parts you need, each in their own file. Use these file name wildcards to automatically generate a unique name for each PDF file. Choose your destination folder and click Export. Let's go through the many other ways to export your music. You can make an audio file of your score.
There we
using
go.
the same sound library and
Audio file is what I need.
configuration you currently use, or a different one if you like. Sibelius offers very advanced bit depth and sample rate options should you need them for high-end mastering. The resulting file will be an uncompressed AIFF or WAV digital audio file, depending on whether you use
Yes,
a Mac
let's
or PC.
print off
From there,
our
you can
music.
easily make a CD,
Yes, that's
or convert
exactly
files
what
to
the
MP3s
person
with other
using
software
this
like
will
iTunes.
do. They will be
Use
printing
Sibelius
off the
7.5
music so that
video
they
export
can
options.
share it with
Again,
their
you can
band
change the playback
friends,
setting.
and that way
Various other options.
they can
This will result in
create
the
the
file
music
being played back.
manually with their instruments,
examples,
lips,
or just
and maybe
download them.
hands,
You can
depending
export
on the
your music as a file
instrumentation.
anywhere
Yes,
in the
that is what
world.
we
You can make a
need.
selection in the usual way
No,
in
it's
Sibelius.
not, bro. People in the modern era, this is the year 2024. You should have started with the audio. Nobody cares about printing and reading the sheet music. We all care about actually being able to upload the audio file somewhere. Like, I'm going to try to get on SoundCloud with some of this.
The systems option will be available. To make a more custom selection, go to the Home tab.
And if this doesn't
choose
work, I'm
Speak
going to
Right
find a
Now,
place that
and
can
then
make
the
beats and
selection
stuff for me,
You could go back to the export page
so I
export
can
the selection
continue
there,
making rap.
or
But I
you can
really
copy the
do want to do
selection
this because I want to make
and paste it directly
instrumentals.
into another application, such as a word processor. You can export your score
Like this
to
on
customized
top of me
settings
being
when you
able to
have a Swift
write,
mobile app.
like, not
Open the file,
music. Well,
on your
I
device to
can't
play
write
back,
music, but
transpose it,
like
and
just writing. Like I'm writing books
also
right
export
now.
your score
That's
to
another
the
thing I
Sibelius
need to
score
start
page.
finishing.
The result will be both
To
a
actually
score
get some of my
Sibelius
books
file
published.
and an HTML file, both of which you'll need to upload to your website. You can decide whether you want the viewer to be able to print and save your music. Anyone who has the free score
Or
plugin
maybe
installed
yeah, hire
will
to
be able
write
view
like
and play your score in any
characters
modern
for
browser, even if
D&D
they don't own Sibelius.
and stuff like that.
Music XML is an open format for sharing music among many different software programs. Export your score in Music XML format to send it to someone using Finale, for example. Exporting your music as MIDI is useful when opening music in sequencers or digital audio workstations, where you'd be manipulating the musical data along with audio tracks. This is for when you're less concerned about the appearance of your music, as very little notation data is included in MIDI files. You can't open Sibelius 7.5 files directly in previous versions of Sibelius, but you can export a Sibelius 7.5 file to a previous version going all the way back to Sibelius 2. Keep in mind that the elements of your score that take advantage of features added in the upgrades throughout the years may not be supported in an earlier version, so the appearance of your score may change. Finally, if you plan on using the same or similar instrumentation and stylistic elements of your score for future projects, you can export them as a manuscript paper, so you can quickly begin a new project.
Okay, so the main thing that I need to be doing is maybe an MIDI file or
Let's
just
look at the way you can share
audio.
music without leaving Sibelius at all. You can email your file to anyone directly from within Sibelius. You have the option
Well,
to
then
send
they can
your
only
file
be able to play it
to
in
files that use the
Sibelius,
previous
so
version,
that is
PDF,
also a
or all
thing.
three. Just type your own email address up top and the addresses of your recipients, along with the subject and message, below.
But you can also publish it to YouTube. That's
Score Exchange
interesting.
is the website powered by the Scorch plugin that allows you to buy,
Might
sell,
try
and
that at
publicize your
some
music.
point.
You can publish to Score Exchange directly,
But we'll
provided you've
see.
already set up your account
I will do a
credentials.
stream
Be sure
of
to
me
read the info tab
using
and
Sibelius
engage
to
with
create a
music
song, so it'll be like
so
a
that the data
longer
is as
live
detailed as
stream.
possible.
Probably mixed in with some gaming because I have ADHD and I have needs and need to be mad. I'd probably end up just, I don't know, playing something random.
As we reviewed earlier in this lesson, the options are similar, except that instead of creating a file on your computer,
It might just be videos, just like piece by piece videos. But I do want to actually see what that's like.
If you missed any of the tutorials, you can find them all at evanblogs.com.
Yeah, shut up. Okay. Well, that's going to be all for this one, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, please leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you want to see stuff similar to this. I will be back. Let me actually just do this. So, we'll be back again later today with some Genshin Impact. It might be something else, but it's probably going to be Genshin Impact. Just a nice chill live stream tonight. And then we'll get back to streaming more routinely. I know I've been bad about it in the past few weeks. I promise I'll be back to it. Now, night streams are not normally when I'm streaming. I'm normally streaming earlier in the morning for me. EST, mind you. That's, you know. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Again, I'm excited to actually start using some of this in Sibelius because I want to write music and I want to have you guys listen to it because I think it would be dope. Anyway, that's going to be all. Take care, everybody, and I will see you all later when we do our